money is truly one of the most valuable things on this planet. Well, maybe not in your opinion, but in my opinion, it's at least decently valuable in the modern world. And if you have chickens in your backyard, there are many different ways you can make money off of them, albeit by selling eggs or doing any of the things I mentioned in this video. You could find out different ways to make money from hens and roosters and whatever. Just gonna give you a fair warning, this requires work. So starting off strong on this list, we're going to start off with baby chickens. Now, believe it or not, people are really going to need their baby chickens in the spring, so this is how I want you to go about it. So first of all, before you go ahead and do this, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and look up the price of the chickens that you have. Like, how much did you get them for? And then once you've got that, what I want you to do is, like, add the necessary markings. I'm sorry, I don't know a whole lot about business. I'm just saying different ways you can make money from chickens. And other than that, though, just mark it up or mark it down as needed. And the biggest thing about selling baby chickens is that people want them based on a season. So I would recommend having your biggest stock supply in the months of February, March, April, and again in July, August, and September. The first wave, so that way they could have their first egg by the fall, and the second wave, so they could have their first egg by the spring. This is really important to know these different waves, so if you want to get some more insight into this, I'd recommend doing a bit of research about hatching baby chickens. And of course, telling them apart. This is just going over some basic stuff. You need to do that as well. Most of the time, roosters and hens get like a different cost. So if you have a rooster that costs like $6.25, you probably have a hen that probably costs like $7.25 because of the availability. And on average, you get about 50% hens and 50% roosters when you hatch them out. Alright, so next up we got selling meat chickens, and once again, this is a seasonal thing. People will get them in different seasons because of the availability and how long it takes. So first things first, before you sell your meat chickens, what you want to do is you want to find the best breed. There are the main two ones I usually think about when I think of meat chickens are Cornish hens or crosses. We have crosses this year, and last year we did Freedom Rangers. I'll say Freedom Rangers will offer more of a hands-on experience, but I'm just saying this is not a meat chicken review video. This is literally just a section in a video essay talking about how to make money from chickens, okay? This is nothing too crazy, you know? And what you want to do is you want to find those and apply the same steps I taught to you last time. You can rewind the video if necessary to that part. Hopefully there'll be chapters. If not, then they'll probably automatically generate themselves, because that's what they like to do. They insert themselves. They basically invite themselves, basically. It's really, sometimes really annoying, but it doesn't really matter. Now next up we got selling chicken coops. And to be real with you, selling chicken coops is one of the most efficient ways to make money, albeit as long as you build the chicken coops yourself and you're basically not just reselling stuff you find at the store. I mean, you could do that if you're selling a used chicken coop, but like if you're just taking it off the store shelves and shoving it onto like eBay or whatever and pricing it at like double the price, then I don't know, to be honest. But selling chicken coops can go for crazy amounts, especially if it's handcrafted. Handcrafted ones like the ones we have here are one of the most expensive ones. I'll tell you something, the chicken coops that we built in 2020, one of them was, I'd say, around $3,500 because of all the added features. And because you handcrafted it, you know you have your reliability stamp of approval on it. So you basically know that the person that you're about to sell it to is going to get the highest quality stuff from yours truly. And that could be you. So that's one of the most efficient ways, but it's also one of the more harder ways because you need to know a whole lot of math and stuff like that to be able to figure out all the different ratios and stuff like that go into building this sort of stuff. So you could also check out my chicken coop building video. Of course, once you're done with watching this video, it's on my channel. It's pretty recent. Yep, and I know, you're confused. How do you sell chicken feathers? Well, allow me to show you. Chicken feathers are actually really useful. Although for the most part you use goose feathers and pillows, you can technically use chicken feathers, and although it's not really useful, to be honest, I just figured I'd include it because, well, when I searched up ways to make money from chickens on Google, this was one of the things. I did a little bit of research. There is some uses for it, just not a whole lot of them. And next up we got selling pullets. I know, you might be wondering, what is a pullet? Well, a pullet is basically a young hen that's I'd say anywhere from about 2 weeks off laying eggs, or about 6 weeks in laying eggs. They're just beginning to develop, and you can see that they're just trying their absolute best in life at this point. So, this is a great time to get them sold. They're usually well under a year old, so this is one great thing to sell, because they're not quite yet adult chickens, but they're close enough there that you can be able to live a happy life with them, and they're easily tameable at this age. So they're a really great way to sell them. So this is what I'd probably start out with if you're a beginner, and you don't really want to go through the whole process of raising chickens. So this is basically the same thing as I was just saying, except with full-grown hens. So they're a bit more expensive. So you could go from spending $6 on a baby hen, $9 on a pullet, or $12 on an adult hen. Adult hens are usually 1 to 3 years old and in peak prime condition, so that's why they're way more expensive. So you gotta remember that, guys. Don't expect to be paying no money on these things, or expect them to be the same as what you bought them for as chicks, because that's not gonna be the same. So next up, we're going to be talking about selling eggs, and I'm not talking about just selling plain eggs like you'd expect me to talk about. No, I'm going to be talking about selling fertilized eggs. Eggs that have the ability to hatch. Be really careful with this. What I want you guys to do with this one is I want you to actually get in contact with the owner and tell them to go pick them up. You can't just ship out fertilized eggs because they're required to be incubated at all times. So you need to tell them to bring stuff like their incubator, stuff like that. Or you don't want to have them over a long distance, because stuff like that could easily end up happening, and you don't want that to happen. So this could potentially be a really long process, but it's fine. Alright, so finally, last but not least, we got selling chicken meat and stuff like that. So chicken and stuff like that, because people love this sort of stuff. The only issue with this is that you kind of have to get approval by some people, the government, stuff like that, so that way you can get everything approved, make sure that you're not violating any things with your chickens and stuff like that. So before you sell it to the public, I'd recommend you not get arrested or something like that for selling infected meat or whatever. So what you really want to do is you really want to check that sort of stuff, make sure it's of high quality. And a lot of people actually feel like they'd feel really saddened if they have to butcher their chicken. So quick tip of the day is, if you don't want to butcher the chicken, give it to someone who will butcher it, especially if you're brand new at that thing, because it'll really help you go a long way.